John, like, what was the inspiration behind this character?
Well, a few things. He's broken. So you saw from a couple of trailers that we've released that he's lost someone and it's scarred him in a way. And it's like Jeff would like to say, everybody loses people, in these kinds of end of the world scenarios. So what's particular about Deacon though is that he was an ex-member of an outlaw motorcycle club. And therefore, he has a love of the open road. He has a love of motorcycles.
Yeah.
There's a sense of brotherhood, and you can see that here in these scenes with him and his best friend, Boozer. And so it was that combination that really sort of drew us to this particular character.
Right, we're going to continue to learn about him as you're playing the game, correct? About him and his backstory and why he is the way he is.
I mean, the bike is very important, right, as well? Like,
yeah, we almost consider the bike to be another character.
Yeah.
Because you only get one, and you're constantly upgrading it. You're constantly trying to repair it. You need to keep it refueled, and if you lose it, you got to go find it, and you can't whistle for a new one. So
you can't whistle.
Right,
like a horse.
Yeah, the refueling mechanic is a huge game design choice. I really, really like that. Can you talk more about how important it's going to be to be able to find fuel?
Sorry.
So the refueling mechanic, and actually you have to find gas to keep your bike going. It's a mechanic we haven't really seen done to this extent before. Can you talk more about that and how it changes the gameplay?
Well, like in this demo, one of the things that Jeff's taking the run and gun approach. So we like to call it sandbox combat. So basically what you can do is you can run and gun, you can stealth your way through, and your goal here is to get and find a bike part, right? So you're here actually for kind of a trivial reason. You've risked your friend's life to come and get a part for your bike. And so that shows a little bit about Deacon's character. But then as you watch Jeff play through this wide linear sequence, he can play it 100 different ways. And if you watch other people play, you'll see that, okay, they didn't take this route. They didn't stop and check the trunk of this police car. And those are kind of like our treasure chests throughout the world. So you're always on the lookout for those because that's how you're going to find ammo and health kits. And then you're seeing one of our stealth mechanics here. If you're quiet, if you crouch walk, and you walk up behind an enemy, then you have the opportunity for a stealth takedown.
And what can you tell us about the Freakers? Because they're quite unique. I mean, we've seen, a fair few undead enemies in video games before. What makes the Freakers unique, and what was your decision-making behind making them the way they are?
They're alive.
They're alive.
Yeah, they're not zombies, they're alive. And so that sounds trivial, but it's not, because it basically means we have a full day-night cycle in the game.
Right.
And they have things that they do. There's an ecosystem, and they have to eat, they have to drink, they have to hibernate. And so you will find them, like in this scenario, you'll see that there's some nests, and Freakers build nests for reasons you discover while you're playing the game. And then you can take those nest zones out in order to free up fast travel routes. So it becomes part of the metagame. But Freakers are evolving. They're living creatures who have been affected by this virus, and there's several different types. And some of our trailers you've seen, we've shown the Screamer, which is a female that can have sort of alarm system that will bring in more Freakers. Right. We have the infected bear, so it infects animals. In our last trailer, we showed
mountain lion and the crows.
Right, so you have so so it's just it's a wide variety of challenges for the player, and like we said, the world comes for you, and that's part of it. Is that these creatures are always after you, and at night they're stronger.
Yeah.
If it starts raining, they become stronger.
But I've seen in previous trailers Deacon actually utilizing the Freakers as a weapon against his enemy as well. So you can actually use them to your advantage as well as the environment itself.
Yeah, absolutely. We call it the Freakosystem. So in this scenario, there's not a lot of chance for that, but if he were fighting Marauders or Rippers, then he could find a nearby swarm. It's an open world, so you can just explore. You can find other tools like a swarm or a freaker bear, and you could bring them into an enemy camp and watch the sort of mayhem that happens.
I guess you've got to be careful though, you don't get kind of sucked into it.
Yeah.
I like this gun, you guys. So you have melee combat and you have gun combat. Can you talk about how you designed and balanced for both?
It's like so many different scenarios require the player to determine how they want to play it. Right, so that's why we have like this full set of stealth mechanics. We have a full set of weapons that you can upgrade, and in order to do that, you have to go to the human encampment. So there's survivor encampments in the world, the only places in the world where it's safe, and you have to do jobs and missions with them in order to to earn trust. And then once you earn trust, the merchants there will sell you things.
Ah, I like that.
And then they, it's like, and if you want to upgrade your shotgun, or you want to upgrade, or you want to buy a silencer for it, then you have to have enough trust at that encampment in order to do that.
Boozer, you there? I found the part. I'm heading
Nope,
out
got
to
the bike part.
Rippers! Rippers! No, 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 ah! Oh, ah, shit!
He's
So
not having a good time.
this is the inside of the Crazy Willie's truck stop, and that's one of the other things we wanted to point out is that it's full open world, but there's a lot of exploration in the game. All of the building interiors are accessible. There's no load times to get in and outside of a building or to go between regions. This is in the Belknap Wilderness, and the whole area is just completely explorable. And then these are the Rippers that I mentioned earlier. So these are one of the cults in the game.
Tats are dead symbols of a dead man. Dead symbols of the lost.
Get off me! Bitches! Biker man!
You must be brought low, biker man. For you are lost, and we are found.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hurt.
Get low! Low!
So you can see they're not very friendly.
No. You've talked about having freedom in terms of how you approach missions. So you can approach them stealthily. You can go in all guns blazing if you want to. What kind of freedom do you have in terms of the mission structure, in terms of the story?
Sons of bitches, get off!
Do you get to make story choices in the game, or is it like sort of like a linear narrative path you're going to be taking?
Yeah, there's several key places where you have to choose what Deacon is going to do in a key situation. So we released a bunch of footage last month, and if you watch carefully, you'll see that there's a moment where Deacon has the choice to take a man's life or to force Boozer to do it.
Right.
And that will have an impact on Boozer's morale. So your best friend, how he feels about you, how he feels about the world, that's kind of up to you as the player.
Awesome.
Did you just die?
Yeah, he
Hey, we
died.
just wanted to prove that that was our scripted.
You're keeping
die.
it real. Is that really what just happened?
We wanted to prove that it was real. That was.
And you will die in this game.
Yes, you will die lots.
All right, so you tried doing sort of a stealthy approach, and now you're just going to go in with a shotgun and blow them away.
Ooh, get that headshot.
Or baseball bat, that works.
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything about what has happened in the world? You know, why are we in this post-apocalyptic situation? Like, are you able to reveal like kind of what has happened, what has led to this transition?
Yeah, it's one of those things that we really want the player to sort of learn as they go. So there are answers,
Right.
but you have to explore. There's a we've introduced this group called NERO, which is our National Emergency Response Organization. They're out in the world. They have these MMUs that you're trying to break into in order to get medical supplies. They're part of the story, and obviously Deacon has lost somebody. We saw that in a trailer. That's part of the story. And as far as like the pandemic and the hordes that you run into constantly, these all sort of weave together to sort of explain how we got to this place in this world.
Yeah, and we're here to talk about the alternate path demo. So we did 2 demos for E3 this year. One you guys saw at the media showcase, and this one we showed behind closed doors on the floor at E3. And so for the first time, we're releasing it online so that everybody can kind of take a look at it. And I thought I'd just talk a little bit about what the differences are, and just kind of like just show you what we were trying to accomplish this year.
Yeah, I mean, the most obvious difference so far is the last one was nighttime during the rain, and this is daytime during the snow.
Yeah, and it's not just cosmetic, and I think that's one of the things we really wanted to emphasize, because this time we're showing sort of a day in the life of Deacon. You see he's on the drifter bike here. We wanted to show a little more of the bike riding and how the weather can kind of impact that. So we have this drifting mechanic, right? You see him kind of slipping and sliding around a little
Changes
bit.
the handling of the bike. That's really interesting. Now, there were wolves there last time, John, and these wolves would pursue you down this road, and then Deacon had to turn his back, shoot a wolf, and he got clotheslined right up there, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So this time you see that he wasn't being chased by the wolves. That's a dynamic event that can just that can happen or not. It just depends on when you're playing the game.
Interesting.
And this time Deacon saw the ambush and he was able to avoid it. So he kind of comes up and around and behind them.
So does weather impacts whether these creatures show up or not in daytime, nighttime, all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So especially the freakers, they come out. They're mostly nocturnal, but they will come out as the weather gets colder. They become stronger in the cold.
Right.
And so that will, again, kind of change up the way the game plays.
That's very, very. I kind of love that you decided to do this as a demo to show two completely different iterations on the same exact mission in the game.
Yes, exactly. So we wanted to have, the job is basically the same. Deacon hears that his buddy's in trouble, rides out to save his life. And, as you can see here, this is a completely different experience from what we showed in the first demo. In the first one, Deacon gets clotheslined, and it sounded very painful, by the way.
Oh, speaking of painful, okay, so the combat in this game is fairly brutal. John, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, we just wanted to make it as, as realistic as possible. So, yeah, we're not holding back on that at all. And Sam's done most of his own stunt work for this. And I can tell you that when we're on the performance stage and we're capturing that stuff, we just try to keep it real, right?
Right. Well, right. There was sort of a decision made at some point. What I've been on the project for what, 2 or 3 years now?
Yeah, I think 3 years.
And so early on, I think there was a more, what were we? It was more Kurt Russell and sort of a two-fisted thing, and then it turned into, hey, let's take this quite seriously. And what that required is a lot more. Taking this combat stuff and showing the horror of the violence that happens and it were this type of circumstance to take place. I mean, realism, weirdly enough, is the thing we keep going back to when it comes to not just the stunts, but also the performance style. I think, it was very important that it doesn't seem like a bunch of actors, saying lines. It was all very incidental.
And we wanted the world to sort of reflect that as well. So you saw there that, Deacon broke into that emergency vehicle and found some supplies. So this is what we're calling our survival vision. So you saw that earlier when he was looking at Manny's bike on the ground. And it's just kind of a way of seeing tracks in the world and sort of imagining what might have happened. And here I just wanted to point out that you're seeing in this part of the demo that there are freakers there. There weren't there before because it wasn't snowing. It was, and it was getting lighter out. It wasn't getting darker like it is. And so, it changes up the way you can play through the level.
And what is this?
We call this the meat wall.
The meat wall.
Yeah, and it's not just there, to make the guys who put them up to seem evil. They're there for a purpose because, again, freakers are living creatures. They eat. That's their primary thing. They want to eat. And so you hang these dead freakers up, and any freaker, rather than coming into their camp like you see here, they would actually
stop and snack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with this freaker that they've hung upside down. There's a bear trap underneath it, and they use that because a freaker will come, be attracted to the meat, and then hit that trap.
Interesting.
Another thing you just saw, by the way, is that tin can.
The tin can trap that you
that's an alarm that the Marauders will put up, and this is again some of the things that Marauder camps just do. And you find these Marauder camps throughout the world. You'll find traps like that, and then if you're careful and you're paying attention, you can avoid them. Because in the first demo, Deacon didn't avoid it, and he set off that alarm.
Right. Now this is the same tactic that he used last time. Throws the rock to get someone to lure him over and have him step in the bear trap. But this one plays out a little bit differently than last time. One of the things that struck me, and we've talked about this obviously as we've shot, but there's an effort of the other Marauders to get this guy to shut up, and he won't.
Yeah, and so in the first demo, Deacon's heading on down the trail, and you can hear that happening behind him.
Right.
And this time we're showing what happened. So, he's watching everybody react to this poor guy trapped in in that bear trap, and she just is like, shut up, shut up, shut up, and then just loses it and shoots the guy.
Right.
And of course, in the meantime, Deacon, is crafting a Molotov and just takes them all out.
Right. Oh boy, that's good. Ow.
So again, it's like in the previous demo, Deacon would have gone off to the trail down to the right. This time he's going to head this way. He follows the tracks, and comes under a sniper attack.
Now let me ask you something about the survival. Okay, there's a sniper attack coming, but the survival vision is, if you don't say upgrade your survival vision, can you miss clues? I mean, are there things that you would get if you upgraded your survival vision that would help you complete the mission better?
Exactly, and you have to, we have a whole skill tree, and it's all tied to the experience that you can earn as you're just playing through the game, and then you can upgrade those things.
What's happening here? We got a freaker tied to a tree.
Yeah, so this is another type of trap that Marauders will set. They will set, they will basically chain freakers to the perimeter of their camps, and they use them as kind of an alarm system. And then that, you saw that Marauder there. He was just tormenting the poor freaker, and then so Deacon kind of takes advantage of that.
Well, and you think for a moment that Deacon is the guy, he's sort of helping the freaker by, getting the guy that taunted him. And like, no, and then he's going to take the freaker out right afterward.
Exactly.
And this is a bit of silent sniping using the crossbow.
Yeah, so this whole sequence at the end plays out very differently. In the first demo, you saw Deacon use a swarm. He weaponized a swarm, lured them into the camp, and then they kind of did the work for him. There's no swarm in this run-through. Right. So the player really has to go in and use what we're calling our strategic sandbox combat, and that's just, stealth mechanics and setting and using traps, whole arsenal of weapons. You see there's a variety of weapons that Deacon's going to use through this, including the crossbow. He crafts his own bolts. And he's got to figure out how to get up to Manny, just using his combat skills instead of doing it strategically.
So straighten me out. Those bonfires, were those there in the previous demo?
No, they weren't. Right. So that's another big difference. Is that if you come here during the day, it's like in the media showcase demo, there was like kind of a fight club thing going on.
Right. They were
punching each other, and everybody was just sort of getting into it. Nobody's really paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
And now it's getting dark and it's cold out. So they've built these bonfires. So. And again, it's not just a cosmetic change in the way the...
Well, it's cold, right?
Yeah, it's because it's cold.
They have to build some...
So it changes the way the Marauders behave in the level.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very... Again, this is part of the reason why I love that you did this as a demo, because the behavior of all of these things, not just the freakers, but the Marauders, everything, there's a logic to it. You can track why they're doing the things that they're doing. And you can use it to your advantage in the gameplay. That's kind of what I like about this so much.
And that's really what we wanted to showcase this year, is that it's an open world game, and everything you see around here. And again, we're only playing this two different ways. You saw that waterfall way up there off in the distance. There's a bridge that goes in front of that. If you had a sniper rifle and enough ammunition, you could have driven your bike all the way up there. There's trails that go all the way up there. And you could have used your sniper rifle to take out this entire camp, because it would have taken them a while to figure out where the shots were coming from and to get to you. So, that's a different way to play. There's another way to play, by the way, where you could have just stealthed in through the entire camp if you had the skills to do it. And you could have just taken everybody out silently, or almost everybody. And then you could have gotten up to where Manny's being held using a different route, and just stealth killed that guy. There's no reason that you have to come in and run and gun it like Deacon is doing here.
Hey, how scarce is ammunition? Because I see him switching from a bunch of weapons, and when we saw this demo, when I came in and saw it at E3, one of the things that I really enjoyed was I was sitting next to you, and the driver was playing the game, and at some point I saw you shift in your chair and you leaned forward, and I heard you say, "Oh man, uh-oh." And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? He's like, he's going to get killed. I'm like, whoa, oh. And I leaned forward. I was like, oh, I guess there's some real danger. And one of the things was that he was running out of ammunition. And he was trying to go pick up ammo from the dead
he was looking for
Marauders.
Ammo,
But he was under fire.
So when we were at E3, we had a whole team with us, and everybody played it slightly differently. So it just shows you that it's not scripted at all.
Yeah. And then this Rager Bear. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
The infected bear.
The infected bear. That's... Yeah. That's not what you want to see.
Well, we thought that would be a good way to end the demo, is to show that it's just one, for Deacon's life. It's just one darn thing after another.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to save your buddy. You get clotheslined. You get attacked by wolves, or you think you're finally done. You rescued you've gone through all this stuff, and then suddenly, Rager Bear.
Right. Well, as you said to me, it's not just about exploring an open world, as it is the open world coming after you, the open world seeking you out, trying to...
Yeah, exactly. That's our tagline. In Days Gone, you don't have to go seeking out trouble. The world comes for you.
Trouble's looking for you.
All right, Sam, thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.
It's been fun, and I hope you guys enjoy the demo, and we'll talk more about it soon.
では解説浦野さん、そしてジョンさんお願いします。
はい、最初にプレイしていただくところはこれはストーリーモードという部分なのですが、これは実際のゲームのストーリーの序盤の方ですね。先ほど一緒にパートナーのブーザーのバイカーと一緒にディーコのバイクのパーツを探しに行っています。 一応故障しているバイクのためのパーツを探すにはここの、クレイジーウィリーという、場所なのですが、そこにあるガソリンスタンドでバイクのパーツを探しに求めます。
パーツをいろいろと探していくと、まずは。
はい、そうですね。ただその中いろいろとフリーカーなども、フリーカーの巣という潜んでいる場所もありますので、そういうところもちょっと探検しながらいければなと思います。
フリーカーの巣、どういう感じなんでしょうか。ちょっと怖いですね。
怖いですね。
フリーカーの巣。
All right, so this is one of the early wide linear missions, and Deacon's job is to get to the gas station, try to find a part for his bike.
そうですね、ここではまあ先ほどおっしゃったようにバイクのパーツを今から探しに、ちょっとここの街を探検したいと思います。
As we'll see, sometimes the fastest way there is not the safest.
そうですね、一応いろいろとルートはあるんですが、短いルートが毎回いいとは思いません。
Here we see one of our enemy types that I mentioned earlier, the newts. They stay on rooftops and will only attack you if you're low on health or if you climb up onto a roof, which is their territory.
はい、先ほどちょっと見えたのがヌートというフリーカーのも
これ屋根の上にいる。
そうですね。
ですよね。
はい、ちょっと小柄で結構あちらも通常はそれほど危なくないんですが、ディーコンの体力がすごい低い時など、彼らのテリトリー屋根の上とかに登ると、攻撃してきます。
弱ってても攻撃してくるんですよね。
そうですね。弱ってると
通常は優しいんだけどっていう。
優しく
はないですね。
So he's climbing up onto this tractor trailer so that he can use his binoculars and look at the environment, see where the enemies are, see where he needs to go, and kind of get a lay of the land.
まあこうやって双眼鏡を使って周りを見渡してどういう地域なのか、どういう敵が周りにいるかをちょっと今確認しています。
雨が降ってきました。
そうですね。雨もすぐ降ってきますね。
Here he sees the interior of a building. All of our interiors can be searched, so it's an open world game with a vast exterior, but you can also go inside the buildings and scavenge for supplies.
はい、そうですね。オープンワールドでありますこの全部、中にある家などガレージとかある、建物の中には全て入れることができます。
Suddenly he sees a nest. So if you see rooms that have all of these branches, these are areas where freakers hibernate during the day.
今はい、火炎火を投げた場所ですけど、
燃やしましたね。
はい、そこにがフリーカーの巣ですね。いろいろ枝が、飛び出しているのが見えると思いますが、そういう、枝が飛び出しているところに、それがフリーカーの巣というところです。それを燃やしながらどんどん、フリーカーも増えて、で登場してくると思います。
なるほど、あそこがフリーカーの巣だったんですね。
はい、そうです。
うわー、激しい、やっぱり。
ミッションの一つの、サイドミッションと言ってもいいですかね。
So he made so much noise that attracted all these swarmers, and now he's got to run.
あ、そうですね。で今のでノイズを、大きい、音を立てることでフリーカーがそこに寄ってきます。
あ、なるほどなるほど。
ちょっと今逃げてます。
音で寄ってくるんですね。
But now he's low on health, so now the newts are going to attack him as well.
でもう体力が、左下に見えると思いますが、今緑のゲージですね。低くなったのでミュートが降りてきて攻撃しに来てます。
あ、そういうことなんですか。あー、やられた。あ
ー。
And that did not go well for him.
やられちゃいましたね。
はい。ジェフさん、ちょっともうちょっと頑張ってほしいですけど。
It happens.
So now we're going to try a slightly safer approach that uses more stealth and that doesn't create as much noise.
ちょっとさっきは失敗しましたが、でもいろいろなルートを探って、目的地まで行きますので、ちょっと今度は違うルートで行ってみましょう。
はいはい。気を抜くと結構ね、やられちゃいますね。
そうですね。すぐ、音を立てるだけでもやっぱ寄ってくるので、結構気をつけないといけません。
Police vehicles are very important in the game because they're like treasure chests. You can almost always find ammo in them.
こういう捨てられた、車のトランクなどが、ある意味宝箱みたいなもんですね。それを開けることでいろいろと貴重なアイテムを、ゲットすることができます。
なるほど。トランクに結構 アイテムがいいのというか重要なものが入ってるということですね。
はい、そうですね。今も先ほど銃弾が、いくつか、手に入ったと思います。
これ建物の中にもいろいろやっぱアイテムがあるということですか？
あります。まあそういう意味でもフリーカーの巣を、クリアしてその建物に入れるようにするのも一つの手。
なるほど。さあ入りました。
ここのは安全っぽいですね。でもこのようにいろいろとアイテムを拾うことで後でクラフトして自分のアイテムを、また装備を、充実にさせることができます。
クラフトもこれまた重要になってくるわけですね。
はい、重要になります。
何するんですか？投げた。
So he just threw a rock at that car, which has a working car alarm, and it attracted all the swarmers to it.
今、ちょっと見えにくかったかもしれませんけど、車に、ちょっと赤い点滅がありました。それはアラームがついている車ということで、そこに石を投げて、アラームを鳴らしてそこに、引き寄せました。
車が音が出るから、
はい、
そこで音を出してフリーカーを呼び寄せてるという。
そうですね。その間に、もうここは、今敵がいないので。
なるほどなるほど。ドキッとしますね。
How's it going, brother? You ready?
Not yet.
Well, hurry your ass up. I rode past one of
So
those.
again, looking for things in the
what the hell they
environment
call them? The shit
will
the
be a
Rippers
big
put
help.
up.
環境にもいろいろ爆発物などもあるので、いろいろと、何が、利用できるかっていうのを探し出すのも、一つの点ですね。
So he makes it to Crazy Willie's garage. This is where the part is, but the door's locked, so he can't get in. He's going to have to find another way in.
こちらが、クレイジーウィリーのそのガレージの目的地のポイントですが、ちょっとドアがロックされて、どうやってこの中に入るか、それは体験版でもここでプレイして皆さんにちょっと楽しんでいただければなと思います。
この先は皆さんがぜひ自分で体感して開けていただこうというところでございます。さあ今見て、いただいたのがストーリーモードということでした。でここからはまたもう一つぐらい何か見せていただけるのでしょうか。
はい、もう一つ、こちらも同じストーリーの一部ではあるんですが、ストーリーをもうちょっと進めた、中盤で、あるミッションの一つですね。で今回体験版ではフリーカーモードと呼ばさせていただいています。そちらのフリーカーモードでは、大量のフリーカーが、出てそれをみんな一掃しないといけません。
フリーカーモード見せていただけるということです。ではジェフさん準備はよろしいでしょうか。それではよろしくお願いします。もう見えてます。なんか見えてる。これですね。
そうですね。これがフリーカー。
うじゃうじゃいますよ。
確かここで How many freakers are here?
I think this is a smaller horde, so this is 250.
300.
300.
そうです。一応300体、300人のフリーカーがここにいます。
300いると。
で一応目的はその全てを倒すことなのですが、上の画面で赤いゲージがありますね。
はいはい、中央上のゲージですね。
それが、残りの、人数ですが、ちょっと、
爆発させ
倒すことでどんどんゲージが減っていきます。ただ音も立てて騒ぎを起こしたことでどんどん寄っていく。
怖っうわーすごいっすね。
はい、エスさんの神プレイでした。
あれ、
はい、
So that's not the smart way to take on the horde.
それでやっぱりちょっとね、普通にただ突っ込んでもこうなるよということです、ね。
なるほど。
はい、
無鉄砲にガーッといっても
そうです、ね、
ただただ飲み込まれてやられちゃうぞと、
はい、
でここからちょっと考えていこうということで。
そうです。でこの子にもいろいろと捨てられた車もありますし、あとはバイク、今回はここではストーリーモードでなかったバイクにも乗ることができます。はい、であともう一つが、もう中盤なので、いろいろと罠を仕掛けることもできるし、装備しているものも割と充実していますので、そういうところもちゃんと利用していただきたいと思いますね。
これが先ほど紹介していただいた重要な、ある意味キーともなるバイクですね。
はい、バイクです。
なんかバイク乗るのもなんか気持ちよさそうですね。
気持ちいいですね。ドリフトとかもできますよ。
やっぱこうね、舞台が大自然なのでいいですね。
そうですね、移動の手段としては絶対に必要な乗り物になります。 でこのようにバイクをどこの位置に、置いとくかによっても、最終的には自分がここに逃げてバイクでさらに逃げられることがっていうのも作戦の中に入れるのは重要です。
バイクの止める場所も重要と。おっと何をしているところでしょうか。
ここは、はい、罠を設置して、後でちょっと使うんでしょうね、それを。
何か設置したと、罠を。
あとバイクが重要なのも、1回死んだらそこが、チェックポイントとなって、そこでまた復活することになります。
なるほど。お、次はどこに設置するんですか。ここはなんか意図があるんですかね、今置いた場所というのは。そうですね、
今、設置しているポイントを決めて、そこに誘導しながら、自分も逃げて爆発物を、復活するという作戦ですね。あとこういう燃料タンクも置いてあります、それは実際に銃で撃って大きな爆発を起こすこともできるし、今罠をそこに設置したので、そこの近くに行くと、フリーカーたちが爆発すると。
やっぱり設置した場所しっかりと頭に入れとかないと。
そうですね、
ちゃんと作戦通りにいかないということですね。
それでどのルートを通っていくかを、頭に入れながら。
おお、来た来た、うわー来たうわ、大丈夫かな、大丈夫ですか、ジェクさん。うわジェクさん大丈夫ですか。うわー、来てる来てる、すごい数。
あと今ちょっとスクリーン画面が、ちょっとグレーになったと思うんですけど、それはフォーカスモールでその間だけ、スローモーションで、ものが起こるようになります。それは中盤になってから
半分以上いますね。
もう結構半分ぐらい、
半分、60% ぐらい、残り60ぐらい。
先ほど仕掛けたもの。
なるほど、丸太のところ。
一つ武器としても、ナパーム火炎瓶というのも作って上がっているのですが、
ここで爆発させて、
結構いいところまで。
でもいいですね、素晴らしいジェフさん、ジェフさん素晴らしいです。
障害物とかを、抜けることで、彼らの動きを遅く、まとめることができます。
どういう状況なんでしょうか。
どちらにしろやっぱりもうずっと逃げ回って動き回ってないとダメですね。すぐ捕まっちゃうので。
いいですいいです、もう迫ってきてる、大丈夫ですか。
なんとか
村野さん、これいけそうですかね。
いけるんじゃないですか。武器とか変更するときはスローモーションになるので、それもいい風に使って
ジェクさん、ジェクさん、ジェクさん逃げて、ジェクさん大丈夫。
今のは、
ちょっと
倍ですね。
ヒヤッとしましたね、浦野さん。さあ、
あとこういう、赤いものが全て爆発すると考えてください。それを狙ったりすると思いますので、使わなかった。
さあ、冷静なジェフさん、大丈夫でしょうか。ライブでお届けしております。
あと体力ゲージの上が、青いゲージなんですが、それがスタミナですね。それで、走ることができる。そのゲージがなくなったらもう走ることもできる。結構ギリギリなところですが、
さあ、お客さんもドキドキしてまいりました。ジェフさん頼む。ライブショーしっかりと成功してほしいです。ただもうあとわずかですね。
そうですね。あとは銃で倒せるぐらいだと
までいってるでしょうか。うわこれは油断できないですね。
そうですね、もうでももうちょい
あと2回ぐらい。よし、すりゃ
最後はボッコボコにして。
His bike's down. All right, Two Dog, where the hell are you? Shit. Go on. Get out of here. Get out. Well, that ain't him. Alright, let's see. Yep. I could use that. Oh, shit. Two Dog. Damn it. Two Dog! Damn it. Stop, Two Dog!
Look around, brother! You know how this is gonna end. Where you at? My leg!
Oh, shit.
Come on!
Shit.
that kind of context is he's going to play that as part of his strategy for how he approaches any encounter.
Gotcha.
But definitely sound, right? Because like you saw in the media showcase demo, Deacon, put down this bear trap and then kind of snuck off.
Right.
And in our alternate path demo, he doesn't do that. So he actually kind of goes around and watches what happens when this Marauder goes into the bear trap, and you hear this gunshot on the media showcase demo. If you look at our alternate path footage, you'll see that one of the Marauders actually shoots the other Marauder in the head because he's making too much noise.
Oh, wow.
Right? So yeah, so it's a pretty harsh world, but that sound traveled, and sound is something that can be really, really dangerous.
Gotcha. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah, I did notice once the bear trap was down and the guy stepped in it, you saw the freakers running.
Yeah.
It's like they heard it screaming. You heard them screaming.
This is looking good. I didn't see all of this footage. I was kind of a little distracted last night during the showcase, but one of the things I really like about this game is it's, we see a lot of open world games out there. It's certainly like a popular genre, but this one, the feel of it is different. It feels more improvisational. I think is the word I'm going for.
Absolutely. Our crafting system, I mean, it's really inspired by, kind of the do-it-yourself mentality where, we all feel thrilled when we make a repair to our car or our house with duct tape and a couple of loose screws, and we feel really good about it. That's Deacon. He's making use of everything he can find in the environment, and they have to scavenge and search for things and employ them in really clever ways.
And he has to do it.
He has to do it to survive.
So like you see right here, this is the same clothesline that Deacon ran into, and in this demo, the runners aren't chasing him, so basically he has the opportunity to see the ambush before it happens, goes around it, comes up behind them, and takes those guys out from behind.
Right.
So, that's, to your point.
And then he strangles them with their own clothesline, too.
Yeah, exactly.
So he makes use of the whole buffalo.
And it's a dynamic event. That can happen. You can be out in the world doing a job or a mission, and then suddenly you've got Marauders that are ambushing you on the highway, and it's a dynamic event. There's no way to predict when it's going to happen. You just got to pay attention.
Well, is there more than just like a clothesline in the middle? Do they find more ways to ambush you?
Yeah,
it's a dangerous world, and it's something where the Horde is dangerous, Freakers are dangerous, but so too are humans because they're cunning and clever, and they too are using everything they can find to employ against their enemies. And let's just say clothesline is one of many things. We'll get into it at a later date.
Okay.
Now tell me a little bit about, maybe a little bit of the backstory about why these freakers are being hung up like this. Is that like a defense mechanism? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so what they do is we call it the meat wall. And what they'll do is, like in this case, they have a bear trap under this dead freaker corpse. And what they'll do is they'll put a trap under it, and then as other freakers are attracted to the meat, they're all hungry all the time. That's what happens, evidently, if you become a freaker. But they hang up the meat walls again. It's kind of like a wall to protect the encampment. So you can always tell when you're coming close to a Marauder camp because you'll run into these kinds of traps.
Yeah, they had all kinds of defenses too. I mean, the first thing Deacon did was trip over that little thing in the tin cans, and that's what drew the first guy out, which is why he'd think on his toes, scramble for a bush, and then wait, and then kill the guy when he came by.
Right.
And again, in the alternate path that we're showing, it's something where if the players are thoughtful and if they take time, they don't just rush into things, they're going to be able to employ a different analysis of the terrain. They're going to be able to look for these things and see them. And that's how he sees a clothesline. And when the players are careful and cautious and assume the world's dangerous, they can turn the tables on the bad guys using the same tools that they're using against the player against them.
Yeah, so like what you're seeing now is part of the alternate path. Changed up the time of day, changed up the weather.
Okay, I was going to say, I didn't remember this from the show.
Exactly, because it's colder now, more freakers are coming out, so freakers are stronger when it's cold out. So you really got to be careful when it's snowing. Also, the bike handles differently. It's like if you'd seen the earlier part when Deacon's trying to ride his bike through the snow, it's very, very different.
Oh, this is really cool. I didn't realize. Interesting. So here's your meat wall, right? The meat wall there.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty smart move, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, look at this, a beautiful looking game too. And I know you guys are digging into the PS4 Pro as well as you make this title. This is one that's been shown off a number of times.
Right.
I know you have HDR. Tell me a little bit about like working with PS4 Pro as you develop the game.
Well, the biggest thing is just the resolution. So dynamic 4K, and if you get a chance to see this thing on a 4K monitor and HDR.
Oh yeah.
And HDR is honestly to me the most impressive thing because it really sort of simulates what the human eye can see. The gamut of colors is just amazing. So watching it in 4K HDR is something you have to do.
It's beautiful enough without 4K, and then you add that to the mix, and it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Right. One thing that stands out to me about Days Gone, amongst the other undead games out there, is that you can get so many zombies on the screen in this thing, or freakers on the screen at once. So can you tell us a little bit about how you guys went about making that happen and just getting so many freakers on the screen at one time? Was that a technical feat for you guys?
Oh, absolutely. So we have a really, really talented team. Some of our engineers and artists and designers and audio and everything, but I think we have we have this one engineer that's literally I've been at Sony for 20 years. Chris has been there like 26 years.
Wow. Right.
And this other engineer has been there like 23 years or something. And he does all of our physics. And he really, really, really worked hard to make sure that we could have as many freakers on the screen as we can. And last year's demo was no joke.
Right.
We had 300 active on screen at once.
Wow.
And the overall horde for the Sawmill, we were managing something like, how many did you say it was?
Killed 1,000.
It was 1,000 freakers.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then 300 more showed up at the end too. So.
Yeah. So it's pretty impressive. So we're even impressed by it.
What do you do when you're confronted by that many freakers and in this game? I mean, we saw last year's demo. I'm not sure that ended so well. That seemed like a pretty desperate ending.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do? What could be an effective technique for getting out of that?
Weaponize them, like we saw in the demo,
them, right?
Where so that wasn't actually a horde; it was a swarm, a smaller.
Okay.
One in this E3's demos.
Yeah, in this year's E3 demo. So it's something where you can even weaponize the larger horde as well. But it's something where it's a threat to you. But if you're smart and you don't just rush into everything, you can stop and contemplate how you can utilize every weapon and every enemy and the environment against each other as part of your tool set.
And I think the short answer is until you have progressed, because this it's like taking on a swarm is something you can probably do pretty early in the game. The horde encounters are probably later in the game, and you just do what Deacon did last year.
The shortest answer is run. When you
run. Get up to a tall place. That won't save you, but it might buy you a few seconds.
Yep.
Well, you saw in the demo at the showcase that the Deacon looks over this fence and he sees a horde down there.
Right.
Probably that's not the smartest thing to do. Would be to run down there.
Yeah.
And mess with them. You just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of hopeless endings, there was a freaked out bear.
Oh yeah.
At the
I
end
was going to go into that.
Yeah. So what other types of creatures are we going to see in that state?
Well, last year we saw the horde,
right.
We saw swarmers, we saw the newts, which are adolescents when they were infected. We saw regular wolves, right? This year we're showing the Rager Bear, that's what we call it, is the Rager Bear. We saw runners, so runners are infected wolves. And those are the ones that, Deacon kind of ran across, then gnawing on somebody's corpse, and then one of them chased him. And the thing about runners is they can outrun your bike. And if they catch up to you, they will knock you from your bike. So it's another example of dynamic events that happen in the world that make the world dangerous all the time.
Wow.
Such a cool game you guys are making. It's really inspired. I think it's got a lot of cool mechanics to it. And it's just kind of a fresh take on the open world genre. So what would you say you're most proud of as you work on the title?
Yeah.
Myself, I'm most proud of the way that our humans are evil. The way that they lie in wait and they want to ambush a player, and they themselves are doing anything it takes for them to survive, and it just comes at the cost of our hero. But humans are mean, and we're resourceful, and we do twisted stuff. And this clothesline is just kind of the beginning of the things they're doing that the players. We never want the player to feel complacent when he's riding his bike down the road. There's all kinds of ways for him to be disrupted, knocked off that bike, and it's just because we're kind of breaking what I call the design rules, the conventional design rules, and that you don't do that to players. You don't knock them off their bike. You let them, they've earned that. And it's visceral and it's exciting and thrilling to survive those types of encounters.
Yeah, it really is. I think, for me, it's just the way the game looks. So, and when you get a chance to play it the way it plays. So, like I said, we have these super talented engineers and artists and designers, and the game just looks amazing. Our goal was to create a AAA console quality open world experience, because that's not something we had really seen. And I think the guys are really pulling it off. I mean, I think the characters look amazing. I think the environments look amazing, all times of day, and it's just fun to look at.
Right. I'm just super excited to find out how the world of Days Gone got to where it is. The origin story and how it led to these freakers pretty much taking over.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys. Days Gone coming out on PS4. Do you guys have a release time frame yet?
We don't. So we're just working really hard to
deep
try
in
to make
development.
the best game. We're really happy that Sony's given us the time and resources to just make like a AAA open world action game, and I think it's going to be awesome.
I agree with you. I think it looks fantastic. So thanks for coming by, showing off the latest. That alternate playthrough was very interesting. I didn't realize it could go in so many different directions. But coming up next on PlayStation Live from E3, we've got a lot more. We got game demos, interviews, all kinds of good stuff. So stay with us. Picked up the controller. I'm looking through the binoculars and I see trouble. I see trouble.
Lots of trouble. Yeah, absolutely. I think you're looking at about 250 individual horde units right here. This is smaller than the horde we showed at the sawmill a few years ago, but I feel it's a good starter horde for you.
And it's really important now, prepare.
So, all right, you just took a bunch of ammo from your saddlebags. So,
saddlebags, cool.
Yeah, and that's an important upgrade for the bike to prepare you for encounters such as this. All right. When you don't try to kill them with the bike. But since it's a sandbox, I say you go for it.
All right. Off to a bad start.
Really bad start.
Nice job.
This is the world's best demo.
I could have done that, dude.
Thanks, Sid.
This
is not.
Oh man.
This is not going to go well.
We're going for realism.
Okay, so there's separate inversion for on foot and vehicle, I noticed.
Okay, yeah.
So let's do that. We're playing it live here. Is that a separate feature?
Yeah, it is, actually.
Yeah, so press R2 to go to the bike.
Display. Oh, sorry. There we go.
There
All right, there we go. Now we're good. Now everything's going to go flawless.
It was the old inverted controls.
That's right. I'm a freak. That's right. It is the right way to play. Here we go. Easy now. Oh, mama. This is a more powerful bike than what I drove in the last build.
Yes, this is an upgraded bike.
Yeah.
This looks gorgeous.
So the horde is back behind you, Sid.
Easy now. This game looks incredible.
No strategy in this game is a bad strategy, but I'm going to say this is a terrible strategy.
The worst strategy.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do I have in terms of weaponry here?
Okay, well, so if you get off your bike, you can access your survival wheel, and on this you're going to have your weapons in the cardinal directions, but then in the upper right-hand corner you're going to have throwable explosives. In the upper left, you're going to have your consumables, which include things like your health, your bandages, but most importantly, kind of survival buffs. Things that will help enhance your core attributes. And, crafting one's going to take away from another, of course, so you've got to make choices that suit your playstyle. And then also we have distractions on the bottom left corner. Not really the best for the horde, but on the bottom right we have traps. So in this case, I think you might have proximity bombs or airbag remote detonators. I think in this case you have the proximity mines. And if you plan properly and look through the environment, you find like key places that you say, I want to run the horde through here later and trigger this detonation when enough of them run past it. So smart players will do that. Foolish players will just charge in, guns a-blazing, and it's going to be a lot harder for those guys.
What kind of player will
players
Sid
will
be?
try to jam their bike into the horde. They can try that.
So what's your strategy here, Sid? What are you thinking?
How do I
Stalling is a strategy.
Got it selected right there, and then hit R2 to...
R2, okay.
Oh, no!
You
can't melee the horde.
You could try.
The strategy is panic and run.
Okay, we're on the move now. Lost my bike. Not good.
You can still save it. I don't recommend a melee bat against these guys, but give it a go.
Got to stay nimble here. This is going to be 10 minutes of me running from these guys, isn't it?
Well, Sid's trying to make his way around. How do you guys plan for all of these different tactics that people are going to dive into? How do you think ahead of time of people are going to want to go about this a million different ways? So what's the process of building out all of that?
Well, we think about what makes kind of sense and what sounds cool that fits the IP, but we do have to provide a lot of different tools just so they can have that, that flexibility. And then we just try to keep things very loose. So that we're going to be surprised by a lot of the videos we see online of people playing this. We'll be like, wow, I didn't think that would happen. And when we've done that internally, we've been surprised about how things just kind of work. So we're supporting it by
It's always the best part of games like this is just seeing how people get so creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a company meeting last week where our head of QA literally took on the horde using his crossbow and custom crafted explosive bolts.
Oh my gosh.
And it was pretty amazing. So he pretty much got all the way there. I think he had to use one Molotov, but Jeff and I had never seen that happen before, so we were surprised, and we were like, oh.
And what's cool about it, and I think this goes to your question, is it makes perfect sense that it worked because the way we built the systems, but Emergence is about a bunch of wholly predictable, unpredictable things, and it just works. Like catching yourself on fire.
On fire is possibly a good strategy.
That's so he can set them on fire when they grab him. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the plan.
Okay. This is
So
also
one of the things
not
we
going
want to
well.
point out, though, is that the Horde locations are all story-driven. And so this is a mass grave site. So Nero would have come in as the world was ending, dug these mass graves, and they happen to have giant barrels of fuel that they would have used to burn the corpses of all the people who had died during the pandemic. So there's a reason why you find all these explodables out in these areas.
Yeah.
And you know,
There you go.
one of the key strategies is to go and find those first, and then plan as you're running around to try to drag the Horde.
Out of ammo.
You're out of ammo. There you go.
And in these encounters, you really got to be thinking on your feet as you're running forward.
Tore me to pieces.
Not dying.
I'm doing better, though. I'm getting the hang of this thing.
Yeah.
Now I got it all figured out.
But you want to scan the environment constantly, looking for new opportunities.
Yeah.
And a lot of them reveal themselves, but you've got to be nimble, you've got to be moving, you've got to be thinking, and using the survival will, and just using every mechanical aspect it wants to survive.
And these are late game encounters.
Okay.
So you run into the Horde throughout the game. Early on, you can't take them on. You're not strong enough. You're not fast enough. You don't have large enough magazines in your weapons. So you really learn early on.
You have to work your way up.
Yeah, how you're
the stealth
going.
button?
And by the time you get to this mission, you would have learned some of the strategies.
And you'll notice those logs right there. If you blow those open, they'll actually.
One of the things I think is great about this too is that
Release
you
and
also
you
have the
can take out a
cultists
huge
that are out
So
there.
actually,
You
Sid,
have
go to your,
animals that are out
lower
there.
right-hand
It's
corner, like
not
4
just
o'clock on your
creatures that
survival
you
wheel.
have to be worried about, and so this
So
could
bring up the
possibly
survival
be a
wheel, Bill, one.
situation that you would
And
maybe
then go to
use
the
them to your
kind of
advantage
4
if there
o'clock
were
and
other
then
enemies around.
place that thing on the barrel.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, yeah, you have one
in,
equipped, so hold L2.
This is one of the late game
there you
missions.
go. And then
There are
R2.
open world
And
encounters.
then when you
where
trigger them, make sure they
you
can
could
run
have
past
an
here.
ambush camp that you have to go take on. If you see a Horde nearby, you can be a Pied Piper. You can actually get on your bike, ride through the Horde, drag them up into the ambush camp, and then watch the mayhem that ensues.
Oh my gosh. All right, here they come, Sid. Oh,
Nice one.
nice.
You got about a quarter of them.
Front row. Front row.
Oh, you're going to have to reload pretty soon, dude.
Get run.
Get out.
It worked.
Come on, get him inside. What happened? Got hit again. Squatters off the highway. We've got to get some men together, go after them. Don't look at me, it ain't my problem. They've got Manny.
You sent Manny on a supply run.
I just run the camp, Deke. I don't tell folks how to live their lives.
Go to hell, Cope!
Oh! Out of the way! Oh! Hey, man!
No, that ain't him. Oh, come on. Oh, crap. Come on, come on! Son of a bitch.
Let's do this. Yeah? You want some of this? Yeah! Yeah!
That's Manny's bike. Yeah, this way.
Why do you always have a bad attitude?
I have a bad attitude.
You have a bad attitude. Just don't talk.
Yes, better if we just don't.
Where you at, man?
Shut the hell up. Shh. He's not being that loud. You shut the hell up.
Thank you. You shut up.
Okay, shh. I want all of you to shut the hell up. What is your problem?
Oh, shh. There's something out there.
Stop!
God! No, my leg! Easy, fellas. There he is. Still alive. How the hell am I? Hell yeah. Come and get it. Dinner time. Drop him! Now! Or I'll kill him!
Do it. I'm not here for him. I'm here for you. Oh, God. Deke. Hi, Manny.
Hey! So, do it.
Yeah, you do. Oh, come on. I wasn't gonna let him kill you. Besides, who the hell else around here knows how to rebuild a carburetor? Just back up. Nice and slow. Don't make a sound. Someone asked me once if I remembered how it all went down. As if it happened so long ago that anyone could forget. So yeah, I remember. I remember when our homes and our towns turned into graveyards. When the wilderness became our only hope for survival. I remember when the planes fell out of the skies. When the trains stopped running. When the turbines shut down and the world went dark. I remember when they put up the razor wire like it was gonna stop anything. When the feds ran out of body bags.
Rope.
When some of us sort of lost our minds.
I think it's dead.
Some lost more than that. Much more. I remember when we lived by a code, when brotherhood meant something, and living meant more than surviving.
Goddamn liar!
So yeah, I remember how it all went down. I don't give a damn about any of that. You know what I remember most? Riding the open road. The smell of your hair. The touch of your skin. I remember you. But those days are gone. Now I'm a drifter, a bounty hunter, a mercenary, And for me, the broken road is all that's left. But I'll always remember.
PlayStation.
You or Boozer have a run-in with RIP the last couple of days?
Why?
One of my men escaped a Ripper camp, got tortured, like they always do. But this time they kept asking me if you knew about it. 2 bikers, 2 men. The Ripper called them mongrels. If you ask me, you got a price on your head.
You know, same as me. Anything that happens here is far better than what's going on out there.
Get off!
What the hell?
Perfect. Just perfect.